everybody. We are back with another live, and today we are talking about the DCEU with Batgirl. Because, of course, we know things are moving around and things are floating around, and this is something that I feel that we should talk about because this is the topic right now that's been floating around once again and it's resurfaced. Because, of course, we know that the director once again came out and, he's addressing this whole thing with Batgirl and stuff like that. So we are going to be talking about this and stuff. So as we wait for these notifications and all this good stuff to go out, we already know the business. If it's the first time you're checking me out, hit that subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. After the video, make sure you hit that hype button because it helps the algorithm. And I truly appreciate everybody's support and stuff like that. Don't forget, my first comic book, Rebel Defenders, is out. Go ahead and show your support. So let's go ahead and talk about this because this is something I feel that is interesting that we got to talk about. Because to me the DCEU still lives and everything that has to do with the Snyderverse. It's a topic that's still hot and people are still interested and they still want more of it. So there's not gonna be no stopping us, and we're gonna keep on talking about this and stuff. Jack, what's up? Appreciate you for watching. Sean, what up? You already know, same thing. All good. How's everything? Do you know Supergirl will be MCU style because James Gunn did give notes to the director? Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Knowing James Gunn and how he does his style and how he does his things, that's what James Gunn does. He's known for that, and I'm not surprised one bit, but it is what it is. What can we do? All we got to do is just not watch. That's it. That's how we win. We just don't watch, and we're good. Charger six pack 550. What's up? All right, so we're gonna be talking about this. Reason why I say this is because I know within the past 24 hours, again, there's a whole thing with the director Jacob. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Scipio, whatever the hell you pronounce it, whatever. He said, and it's interesting, and I'll tell you why I feel that something is being hidden from us. This is him saying, "There's always hope. Hollywood's a funny place, and I think enough people want it, it can happen." A lot of people want to see Batgirl. In the beginning, when all these things were going on, we heard, and it all sounded like a mess, honestly. But honestly, with the way that things have changed and things have moved on, I think you know what? I'm convinced that WB, with David Zaslav and especially with James Gunn, they're hiding stuff from us. They don't want people to know the truth in the sense of good movies and good entertainment and stuff like that. And seeing what they were setting up with it, I get it. Some of you are gonna be like, "Oh, but that was the Hamadaverse, and they wanted to do this and wanted to do that." I'll talk about all that right now, because there's something that I've been looking at, and this is no coincidence of all these things that are happening. Matt Reeves wasn't what to do DCU about he wants Batgirl because he has no Ben Affleck. They can't find no actor, but they just got Michael Keaton. Yeah, we'll talk about that right now because it's so important. James Gunn movie actually flopped, so we actually are indeed winning this exactly. It's crazy because even my pregnant girlfriend hates this garbage movie, and I'm not making that one up, by the way. Man, you know what? She has taste. She knows what's up, and just like that, a lot of people are starting to wake up and see that the way that things are going right now are not, what they promised everybody. They've been selling us a lie, all right? I want all this stuff released, everything related to the Snyderverse, restore Snyderverse already. You already know it all day. Shin Batman, what's up? Hold on, I just clicked too quick. Batman is afraid to release Batgirl. I mean, WB is afraid to release Batgirl. Big time, big time. We're gonna talk about that right now. We're really. I want to break some stuff down just because. Batgirl with Leslie Grace would have been a good one. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. All right. So look, this is what I think. I think that WB, along with David Zaslav, Peter Safran, and James Gunn, have been lying since the beginning. We already know what they're about. By now, it's already proven they're just liars. They don't care about us. They don't care about the properties. They don't care about the brand. They don't care about the company. All they care about is how they can rob, because literally they're robbing WB, from their budget and their money. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. Even James Gunn, the head of DC Studios, to say that superheroes are stupid, and he doesn't care about these characters, right? Setting that to the side, the reason why I think this is all, not a coincidence, but this is me speculating again. I have a feeling that David Zaslav saw, and of course, before this whole reboot, that it was going to set up something good with Batgirl. You might ask yourself, oh, but this wasn't connected, and this was just forced, and this was from the Hamadaverse, and they were trying to force it to a point. All right, look, if you look at it and analyze it, that's why I picked out these three pictures. We had Batgirl, right? Can you compare that Batgirl suit to what we're getting with Superman now? No. This still looks good. Honestly, this still looks canon with what we were getting within the DCEU. I know some of you might disagree, but that's how I feel and that's how I see. We still have J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. And what's that you see? That's the symbol of Batman. But which Batman? That's the DCEU's Batman. That's Ben Affleck's Batman. So you have Ben Affleck from this universe that's tied in with Leslie Grace, that they were introducing her, and she was going to take place, and build up and everything that has to do with Batgirl. And of course, we have Ben Affleck that was supposed to come out, and he was going to be part of this movie. And let's not forget, while this is happening in the background, this is when they wanted to replace Henry Cavill as Superman. They wanted to replace, Ben Affleck as Batman, and what he was going through and stuff like that with real life situations and stuff like that. And it was kind of hard, for him, just because of what had just happened with Justice League, filming it and stuff like that. So it is what it is, right? But let's look at the positive, compared to the negative. There's more positive. All right. We're gonna get more content. We're gonna get more expansion within the universe. They filmed the movie. That movie's complete. You have J.K. Simmons, that's still the same Commissioner Gordon from this, universe at the time, and the same Batman from what we got with Justice League, and whatever within this whole Batman versus Superman universe and stuff like that. And what do we have at the bottom? Michael Keaton's Batman. And if you look close, you see that he's talking with Leslie Grace, is Batgirl. So we already know that they were supposed to be working together, because let's not forget, I think this movie was supposed to come out before the Flash or something like that. But then remember, the last movie that was supposed to come out from the DCEU was supposed to be the Flash, and it was supposed to reset everything to open the door to whatever nonsense that they're doing right now. It didn't work. We clearly see what James Gunn did. He rushed it, and you can see his fingerprint all over the production. All right. He gave notes to Andy Muschietti. They tried so hard to squeeze in Ben Affleck, and we saw what they gave us, and that's just not what we're gonna accept. All right. Michael Keaton, you might be asking yourselves, oh, but why that, why that Batman and stuff like that? Because it was supposed to take place with the multiverse opening the door for Michael Keaton's return to set up his final film as Batman. And it was supposed to open the door for Batman Beyond. It was going to set that all up, because remember, before, I think it was after already Spider-Man, the first, I forgot the animated one, what it was called, Spider-Verse, I guess, Into the Spider-Verse, I can't remember right now. The whole point is that they were supposed to do something also and introduce, Terry from Batman Beyond, and they were gonna have Michael Keaton retire as Batman, passing the cape of cow to the futuristic version of it and stuff like that, setting it up. But then we get, James Gunn. He comes in, he screws everything up, and he literally just like said, "No, I'm not gonna let this happen." Because remember, when they filmed Aquaman 2, they had Ben Affleck, they had Gal Gadot, they had Henry Cavill, they had all the cast pretty much there, and they had done reshoots, and they were supposed to build up and set up something where they were supposed to be I'm kind of tongue twisted today. They were supposed to be stuck in another dimension, where Ben Affleck, he's asking the Flash, Barry, to come find them, that they were stuck in another dimension because of a portal, who knows what the hell. And I remember when the movie Aquaman 2 came out, people were talking about that yes, that did get screened at a private event before it got released to the US. And I remember seeing the post. I remember people putting the posts on Twitter, and those posts got pulled down quick, because they're trying to hide the truth from people. All right. And I mean, WB, they were quick to pull down those posts. All right. I saw it myself. I didn't get a chance to screenshot it just because at the time I was like, whatever. But then some time passed earlier this year. And I remember this was probably like around maybe late January, early February. They leaked. I don't know who. Somebody leaked probably like 13 or 15 seconds where you see Batgirl. She was going up against some goons chasing, Firefly. Because remember, Brandon Fraser was supposed to come and he filmed as Firefly. So you see those scenes. I mean, that it was like 13 to 15 seconds. I remember it was like probably like my time, East Coast. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I know people were just tagging me and sending it, and I was like, "What the hell?" So I was like, "Let me look at this." And when I saw it, I was like, "What?" Like I couldn't believe it. I went later on, and it was gone. That video was deleted. Somebody has that video somewhere out there, but it was removed by Warner Brothers. What are they trying to hide? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I know some of you might be like, "Hey, remember they were gonna make that movie woke, and it was supposed to replace." Superman with Supergirl, Batgirl is supposed to replace Batman, all this crap. Now look, let's look at it. Just look at from my perspective and my point of view, right? Just hear me out real quick. What if, big what if, right? What if all this time they've been lying to us, saying all of that, just so people could be like, nah, I don't want to see it because it's gonna be woke and this and that, just to sidetrack us and distract us, so nobody can be like, oh, I'm not interested in that. And they know, meaning not James Gunn, but David Zaslav knows that that was going to set up something good, because remember, this is not all a coincidence. Why would Henry Cavill return back for Black Adam right before James Gunn took over after the Hamadaverse, and then started what he wanted to do with Shazam? Of course, he gave notes. And then, of course, you see when he fully takes control once Black Adam comes into play. Because you're going to come here and tell me that, oh, James Gunn's wife, Jennifer Holland, made a cameo in Black Adam just for the hell of it? No. You know damn well that James Gunn was behind it. And I don't care what you tell me. That rat made that possible because he was already pulling the strings behind closed doors. So we're not going to see it, obviously. So if you add it up, and remember, James Gunn also said when they filmed Aquaman 2 that he didn't want to give false hope and promise to people something that wasn't going to happen. We know that we were going to get more of the DCEU and the Snyderverse. That's why Mike DeLuca was fighting for it, because after the success of the Snyder Cut, they were like, hell, we got to make more stuff with this. So could this all just be a coy just to like fool the audience and say, hey, look, we did a tax write-off, we don't care about it, we're gonna move with this reboot? And where's this reboot taking WB at right now? Nearly to bankruptcy. Because the moment that James Gunn took over, and the way that things are, if you want to call it quote unquote unfolding, it's not working. It's not working, period. It's not working. Accept it. It's not. Creature Commandos tanked. Nobody's watching. Peacemaker season 1 tanked. Nobody watched. Peacemaker season 2, nobody's watching. You have what else? Superman. It didn't make the numbers that it was supposed to. You have all these shows that came out shilling, and even the shilling didn't help this movie. On the contrary, it just sank it even more. And I don't care to whoever tells me. I'm telling you straight up. Superman 2025 from James Gunn was low key a woke agenda movie. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it, and I will say it again. All right? Because they made Superman into a puss, and they made Lois, like, as always, oh, the strong female mentality of, I don't need a man. I don't need to tell a man that I love him. But at the end of the movie, she comes running to him to hold his hand. And don't tell me that that's not what happens, because damn it, I saw that movie and that's what happens. And at the end is when they finally kiss and she admits to him that she low key loves him. But throughout the whole damn film, she's the typical, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man to save me. She's the one that takes that little spaceship and they start flying it. I mean, did she overnight just go to like flying classes to fly a spaceship? But no, she's the one empowered, right? That's the message and the agenda that they're pushing. That's what falls under the woke agenda, all right? Making Superman a coward, making Superman so, oh, we're going to talk instead of fighting. And when he talks with Lex Luthor, oh, but this and that, we're going to talk it out. We're not going to fight it out. Come on. Come on. You're making Superman into a straight puss. And that's exactly what they did with this movie. James Gunn just buttered all that agenda and he shoved it down people's throats. And I'm glad to all the people that lost money and went to the theaters and spent on popcorn, on shitty merchandise, and movie tickets. I'm glad you got taxed. You know why? Now you know next time, don't buy this shit. Straight up, don't buy it. Because they're here out here shilling and they're starting to do the same for Supergirl. Notice, and this is how I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. And I suggest other YouTube channels should do the same thing too. You really want to send the message? You really want Supergirl to tank for James Gunn next year? And I don't care. I know that he's not directing it, but he has his fingerprint all over it because, of course, it's James Gunn, and that's what he does. All right. You know how we win it? Simple. Don't talk about it. Don't watch it. Don't mention it. Don't review it. Period. You don't see me talking about it. I did that with Superman. A lot of people did that with Superman. But guess what? That's free publicity for them. And that helped them in the long run. And we see now that it's already proven. All right. No matter how much shilling they did, it didn't help them. It did not help them. Now, is WB hiding Batgirl from us? I think so. Because they know that there's something good that's connected. It's building up and it's setting up something to much bigger things. Now, why would the studio be hiding that? Because it's not convenient for them. That's why. We already know that David Zaslav is all about money. And we're seeing it because he's turning down $60 billion from Paramount Skydance. David Zaslav, you're not in the situation to be picky right now and say, you know what? Let me go ahead and pick and choose $60 billion because when your options run out, you're going to want those $60 billion because after the billions, people are going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to keep on making an offer because this is insane. Now I'm going to lowball you even more. And that's what these studios need to do. Because in the end, like I told y'all, if WB isn't sold very soon, this is going to have an impact on everything, not just WB. This is going to affect other studios. This is going to affect the whole entertainment side, not just, oh, the movie division. No, this is going to affect literally everything. Like earlier today, I was driving and I was thinking of that. And I was just cruising on the highway and stuff, minding my business, thinking about stuff. And I started thinking, I was like, you imagine that if David Zaslav doesn't sell WB, you know how many people are going to be without jobs because of the economy and because of the movie division? And it's not only WB. Look at Disney right now. Unfortunately, Tron Ares, it just tanked. It tanked at the box office. Period. It's a disaster. They lost over $80 million. That's bad. That's really, really bad, you know? And Disney has already decided we're not going to move forward with that IP anymore. Good. Good for them. You got to do what you got to do to save money. Stick to what you're good at. You know that it's not working. Why are you going to keep on investing? You know? And that's the same thing that's coming down to everything that we are right now, you know? Unfortunately, this industry is being hurt financially from everything. It's really bad. It's not doing good, you know? Things continue to get worse and it's proven. WB, you know, being around for 100 years and who would have thought that they would have been in this situation? But they chose this. They chose to open the door to disaster. Tell me what you want. I'm telling you straight up. But let's be honest. They refused to restore the Snyderverse. And remember, I was calling that and I was saying it. If WB doesn't restore the Snyderverse, eventually, which we are right now heading into, they're going to be forced to sell. And I'm telling you right now, if WB doesn't sell and David Zaslav doesn't sell, you know what awaits this company? Is going to be auctioned off for less than billions and it's going to be sold for millions. In other words, for chump change. All right. And they're going to have to sell their assets and IPs to different companies because when you have stubborn CEOs like James Gunn, Peter Safran, David Zaslav, you get what you deserve for being hard headed. When you're hard headed like that, that means that you're not listening to what the people are telling you. You need to sell it. Get the most while you can because eventually people are not going to want to be like, hey, I'm going to invest and I'm willing to risk everything on my company. No, no, it doesn't work like that. You have to be a fool to say and do that. Nobody in business will take that risk, honestly. You know, you ever seen Shark Tank? You see how those investors are? They know how to spend their money and what not to, you know, and that's what they need to do. It's getting to the point where it's like, David Zaslav, you need to sell ASAP. You need to save the industry in the sense of you need to get out and you need to let other ownership come in and let them do their thing. Enjoy the money, go play on the golf course, and call it a day. That's it. Let us enjoy what we like. Let the future enjoy what's coming out. And there's so much that's still there. Some people might be like, oh, but the Snyderverse is dead. It's done. There's no coming back from it. As the usual, oh, the actors and the actresses have moved on. No, no, they haven't. No, they haven't. They are all willing to come back. I want everybody to tell me and prove me wrong. Quote to me and tell me, where does Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, and all these actors and actresses have said directly that they've moved on and that they're done? No, they're not. Remember the dude that played Rick Flag Jr. in Suicide Squad? He came out like last year around this time in December. He was like, "Oh no, I'll never join James Gunn's Peacemaker, and you'll never catch me on it," and blah blah blah. I made a video about that, right? And what did dude do? He did the opposite. He came out on James Gunn's recent season 2 Peacemaker, right? Why? Because he sold out. That's why. That's why. See what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, you just said you wasn't, but then you came back. But then the James Gunn cultists, they won't acknowledge or accept that, right? That's acceptable. To their eyes, it's like, oh, that's fine, right? See what I'm saying? This is why I'm telling you, WB is hiding something from us with Batgirl because it's having the same, continuity. J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon from the DCEU, from Ben Affleck's Batman, world universe. And then you have Michael Keaton that it's setting up another film for him, and it was going to set up Batman Beyond. Why would you not move forward with this? Why? And then they want to go ahead and label it, oh, that movie was going to be trash, it was going to be woke, it was going to be this agenda. Maybe they're just bullshitting everybody and they're just saying that so nobody watches and nobody asks for it. See what I'm saying? Because people are blind like that sometimes. Unfortunately, people can be misled and be like, hey, yeah, that movie was going to be trash. I'm glad that they canceled it. But in reality, probably it wasn't. The same thing with David Ayer's Suicide Squad. What are they hiding? Why doesn't James Gunn release the Ayer cut while he's there as CEO? Huh? Oh, that's right, because it's not convenient for James Gunn to be able to put out a movie with Jared Leto that he actually has personal drama with in real life. James Gunn is not going to be like, hey, you know what? We're going to release the Ayer cut because, even though I have beef with Jared Leto in real life, I'm still going to release it. No, he's not. He's bullshitting everybody. He's not going to do it. James Gunn is only caring and worrying about James Gunn. He doesn't care about anything or anybody. So you think he's going to want somebody else to take his spotlight? Matt Reeves is already taking the spotlight from James Gunn. How do you think James Gunn must feel? He must be salty. He must be very, very bitter, low key. He must be like, damn, how come they're all, praising Matt Reeves and his Batman? Oh, damn, I don't even think I can deliver like him. I wonder why, right? So I'm telling y'all, a lot of things are happening behind the closed doors. This is not coincidence. I'm telling you, I think that they are hiding something. And Creature Commandos, nobody cares about Creature Commandos, honestly. And some of you might be like, oh, but they're getting a season 2. Well, no duh, because James Gunn's contract, until it's over in November 2026, he's going to try to greenlight and do everything that he can so he can leave his quote-unquote legacy. James Gunn's legacy is going to be the most ridiculous circus in all DC cinematic history. I'm telling you right now, when we look back 5 years from now and James Gunn is no longer at Warner Brothers with DC, we're going to be like, what the hell happened during that era? We have no idea, but we're glad it's finally over. And it's coming to an end. Once this buyout happens, James Gunn is out. It doesn't matter whoever buys it, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Apple, whether it's what is this, Paramount Skydance, if it's Netflix, if it's Comcast, whoever buys Warner Brothers, if they sell it, James Gunn is out, and he knows it. James Gunn knows that his days are numbered at WB. This is why he's trying to, rush everything and try to, let's do this and let's do that. All right, dude, you're not gonna be around much long anyways, and he knows it. Now you're seeing Kevin Feige coming out and blaming James Gunn. Oh, James Gunn left a mess right before he went to DC, and that's the same mess that he's causing over there. You think? We know. We been knew. We told you. And what they're waiting for is literally for shit to hit the fan and finally wake up and realize, damn, you know what? The fans were right all along. We were right all along. We tried telling you. We told you that it wasn't going to work with him. You know. Instead, you guys decided to turn your back on the Snyderverse. You decided to turn your back on David Ayer. You still haven't released the Ayer cut. But you know what's funny? This is what's funny. For a quote unquote dead universe, right? Because apparently to all these James Gunn cultists, right? And the shills and all these fraudsters out there, oh, the Snyderverse, it's not around anymore because we're in the DCU era with James Gunn. And James Gunn is cooking. Cooking what? The food is burning on the grill. There's nothing he's cooking. Nothing. There's no flavor. There's no juice. Nothing. He's straight up letting the grill burn everything. And then in the end, what happens? Oh, for a dead universe as the DCEU from the Snyderverse, how come McFarlane Toys are putting out product of that to get crowdfunding and it's surpassing it? How come they're doing the same thing with David Ayer and it's about to reach the goal? So I'm telling you, because it sells, it makes money. How come if they believe in James Gunn so much, huh? Riddle me this, David Zaslav, people at WB. Riddle me this, James Gunn cultist, James Gunn, and Peter Safran. How about you riddle me all of this? How come you don't put any crowdfunding toward none of your shit? Oh, that's right, because it doesn't sell, right? Because you know that none of that shit's gonna sell. David Zaslav, you know that none of that shit sells. James Gunn, you don't even you know that your shit doesn't sell. Your shit should go exclusive to straight to clearance. Whenever James Gunn puts out a product, it needs to go not straight to DVD, not straight to streaming, not straight to anything. It needs to go straight to clearance, straight to the trash, because that's where it belongs. It got pulled out from the trash, it got used with trash, and in the end, it ends up back being trash because that's what it is. Real talk. I'm tired of all the nonsense and all the excuses from all of these James Gunn cultists. All of these James Gunn shills that are coming out left and right, your shilling couldn't save you. Superman 2025 tanked. It tanked. It's a flop worldwide. Now you have Variety coming out. You have Forbes. You have all these same companies that were shilling during the summer. Remember that? Do I need to remind you when all these companies were all shilling and they were all like, "Oh, go see Superman because Superman is the number one movie," and they couldn't even say in the world. It's the number one movie domestically. Oh, you gotta focus now on domestic? How come you're not saying worldwide? Oh, that's right, because Jurassic World Rebirth beat your ass worldwide, just like I predicted it. Remember? Remember, I told y'all. I was like, Jurassic World is going to stomp and crush the box office. And some of y'all laughed at me. And what happened? Oh shit, y'all didn't say nothing, right? When y'all saw those high numbers almost in the 900 millions, right? Meanwhile, Superman was struggling for 89 days to make 600 and what, $15? 615 million. That's it. And then you have Demon Slayer that literally came out, and in the weekend, it surpassed them. Literally less than a month, it surpassed Superflop. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That we're winning and we will stop at nothing. You have to accept it. It has to be accepted, you know? Knowing how everything with James Gunn is going, there's no financial profit in it. There isn't. Anybody that thinks that James Gunn's making money and he's helping the brand, that's what delusion is. That's when you see, or oh, delusional. That's exactly what a delusional type of person believes. Because you can't be making money, but the numbers are not lying because Wall Street is telling you. You know, I don't have to be an investor to know that it's doing bad. It's bad. Period. When those numbers are in the more in the red than they are in the green, it's bad. That means that financially is doing bad. Now, when you see this, WB has Batgirl sitting in a vault right now. And we saw it, the directors came out and they're like, as long as people they want to see it and there's a huge demand, it's like the directors are talking to us saying, hey, if you guys fight for it the same way you fought for the Snyder cut, maybe one day you could see it. And the same way you're fighting for the Air cut. Damn, yo, I'll be honest with you. Even though this was part of the Hamadaverse, right? hear me out, like I said. All right, put that to the side. This is still within the DCEU and it's still connected with the same Batman. It's still connected with the same timeline. It's still connected with characters from the universe that Zack Snyder created. I get it. It's not a Zack Snyder property, but it branched off of it. Shazam wasn't a property of Zack Snyder, but the director went out of his way and he included Easter eggs. Remember the Batarang? That's Ben Affleck's Batarang. Remember, they acknowledged Superman in that universe. The bullet that's in the little bag. When the kid opens the drawer and he's like, "Oh, I collected it" or whatever. You see Aquaman in the background. You see Wonder Woman. Those are all characters from the same universe. They were trying to tell you, hey, these are our heroes from this timeline. So, shit, let's give them credit. Let's straight up give them credit because I'm starting to see a pattern here. If you don't see what I'm saying, I don't know what to tell you. But I think WB is bullshitting us. I think WB is hiding good shit from us. And WB knows that they messed up. So what are they gonna do? Oh, let's cover it up. Let's cover it up. Let the the people can't find out. They can't find out. What? Nah, hold on. Now you got my full attention. Now I'm curious. See what I'm saying? So now I want to deep dive and I want to see what the hell is in there. Now I'm really curious to see. You know what? Release Batgirl. Shit, I don't care. Release it. I want to see that thing. And I know like that a lot of people do too. Some of you might be like, oh, well, it wasn't Snyderverse and it wasn't connected. All right, you do you. I want to see that shit. You know why? Because there's something in there that it was setting up something good. I want to see how does Ben Affleck's Batman play into all this in that universe because he was supposed to appear in that movie. They shot. I remember that they filmed some stuff with him and they were keeping it low key. They were more focused on Michael Keaton because Michael Keaton was supposed to be mentoring Batgirl. But technically, this was going to be Batgirl alongside Ben Affleck's Batman. Who knows what they were trying to work on? Who knows what they filmed? We don't know that. But just know one thing all that footage is still sitting in the vault. That footage is sitting in a vault. And one day, we're going to see it. And this is what James Gunn doesn't want nobody to know. He knows that there's good stuff there. You know, it's a lot of things that they know. You know, it's like what are they really hiding from us? They know that there's good stuff there. The thing is, will we see it one day? I think we are. Just like we're gonna see the air cut. I think we are. Honestly, how do we see this? I know one time, Aaron Fisher he spoke about it, and he has said, they did a tax write off, so they can't technically make money off of it. Shit, give it to us for free. Put it on HBO Max on your streaming service and give that shit free to all of us. That's it. That's one way to redeem yourselves. You gain your audience back. You're gonna gain the same way that Deadpool and Wolverine capitalize on nostalgia with the old audience, the modern audience, and the future audience. That's what I'm telling you. That's what they should do for us to see it. You know, and this whole thing with Supergirl, I get it with Sasha Kaya. Look, what they did with the Flush, I have a feeling strong that James Gunn told the director, Andy Muschietti, hey, we're gonna bring in, of course, Ben Affleck, just to please the Snyder fans, because that's how I picture James Gunn. Oh, we're just gonna please those Snyder fans just to get them out of the way, and then we're gonna go ahead and give Michael Keaton, we're gonna send him off as a goodbye, but he can't survive this universe. No matter how you do, whatever multiverse you go, he's affected and he never makes it. And that's what James Gunn did. See what I'm saying? And what else did they do with Zod? Oh, that baby Kal-El, he never made it. What are you trying to do? You're trying to stop something. You're trying to prevent that ever happened. To me, that's kind of messed up. I'm like, oh, okay, you want to play like that? All right, that's fine. I just won't watch none of your garbage ass movies. That's it. And that's what we need to do. Not watch none of these movies that James Gunn is putting out. They're tanking on their own. Honestly, they're tanking on their own. It's a disaster. It's a mess. James Gunn has no leadership whatsoever, and he knows it. He knows that he has no clue what he's doing. And in due time, it's revealing everything and all the screw ups that he, Peter Safran, the studio, David Zaslav, they must all be straight up going at it when they see that those numbers keep dropping. When they see how bad now people that they were paying to shill are turning against them. You have right now ex James Gunn fans turning on James Gunn saying, "Yeah, you know what? I'm done." I've seen videos of people on YouTube and all over social media, Instagram and whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done with this shit universe." They're like, "I'm not even bothering with it." A lot of people are turning it off. That's why you see in the viewership of Peacemaker season 2 that it keeps dropping. But then you see these fake fans, also known as the James Gunn cultists, saying that they're eating good and that it's a success. They want to lie to you. That's all it is. They're lying. They're trying so hard for people to eat it up and be like, yeah, yeah, we're winning. No, you're not. No, you're not. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. You're not winning. You know who's winning? We are, the Snyder fans. You know who else? The fans. The fans and the general audience. Because they're not watching this crap. They really are not. Superman was a disaster. Superman was a flop. And that's how it's going to go down in the books, period. It was a flop. It was a certified flop. Man of Steel from Zack Snyder with Henry Cavill, a movie that was made 12 years ago. Think about that. A movie that came out 12 years ago, not 2 years ago, 12 years ago, made a profit of $55 million. A profit. James Gunn's Superman, it lost between 42 to 55 million, probably more. And they're not trying to tell us everything because they're like, yo, the damage is done. And it is. It's done. It's over. It's done. The DCU is done. It's over. It was dead on arrival before it started, and it's fully right now buried. That's it. James Gunn opened the grave, and he straight up he's burying himself in it, symbolically, not literal. And it's just showing you, like the poor leadership, you know, of this company. It's completely crazy. I get that some of y'all might be like, oh, but they were gonna do this and they were gonna do that. Again, what if they were lying to us? What if they were just saying that just to bullshit us and say, you know what? Damn, let's just throw bait out there. Oh, we're gonna make it woke, we're gonna make it this, we're gonna make it that, we're gonna put an agenda, we're gonna how do we know? Have any of us seen it? Have any of us seen it? Actually, no, right? No, none of us. So why are we really saying that this could have been worse than what James Gunn has put out? I see some people saying, "Oh, it was gonna be this and it was gonna be that." What if that was a lie? What if they were just saying that to distract you and sidetrack you and say, "Hey, look, it's gonna be this bad that we can't put it out." I'm starting to think that it wasn't. Those 13 to 15-second clips that I saw from Batgirl when she was in her costume, like we're seeing, she was in a motorcycle chasing Firefly, and Firefly had a big old flamethrower. He was straight up shooting in the air, like of course they were filming and stuff like that. And you see the goons that she gets out. It cuts to another scene, and she's fighting them. And I was like, damn, if this looks good on a camera phone that people were leaking behind the scenes, I was like, I can only imagine what's in that movie. See what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, if those 13 to 15 seconds were fire, literally, you know, I'm like, what are they trying to hide from us? I have a feeling that they are trying to hide quality. That's what I think it is. And they were just using that whole bullshit of, oh, it was going to be woke. Oh, it was going to have some type of agenda. Oh, we're going to replace Batman with Batgirl. We're going to replace Supergirl with we're going to replace Superman with Supergirl. What if they were just bullshitting? Because we already see what we saw with Sasha Kaya in The Flash. I like her performance and what she did and stuff like that. Now, let's not forget what we saw with Zach. He put that book before all of this happened. What it was like probably 3 Thanksgivings ago that he had put that crisis book in the background. Everybody was speculating that that's what it was going to lead up to. And then after that, you know, it brought us into where we are right now with James Gunn. I personally think, and I have a strong feeling that yeah, that they're lying to us. They're completely they're lying to us. They're hiding something. They're hiding something, and for sure it's going to be connected to previous films and things like that. That's just me. That I know some people are not going to agree. That's fine. But again, and then again, you have these same, quote unquote, these fake fans that are defending James Gunn, and we clearly see all the lies. but yet they go ahead and they support the whole orgy scene of Peacemaker, right? That's acceptable, right? Pushing the whole, commie agenda on Peacemaker, low key. Oh, because that's Earth X. I don't give a shit what world that is. You're low key trying to normalize it for people to eat that shit up. I don't support that. I don't support no commies. Fuck that. I really don't. And when you're pushing that shit in the show, a movie, a cartoon, a comic, an anime, or whatever it is, I am not watching it. I'm done. I don't support that shit. And a lot of us need to stand up like that. We need to have the courage and stand up against all this nonsense. And that's the problem with a lot of people in society. They want to keep on pushing the agenda mentality. That doesn't work. It ruins everything. And that's what James Gunn has been doing with the DC brand. He hasn't been helping and improving anything. On the contrary, he's ruining everything. For James Gunn to say that there's not going to be a season 3 for Peacemaker, that's telling you everything. He's already telling you, yo, this is not going to be around for much long. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad because the shit needs to end and it needs to come to a stop, a full stop. It needs to go back to what was working. It needs to go back to customer service. It needs to go back to what people really wanted. That's the thing. To what was making money, not losing money. Because when you lose money, this is why the industry is affected right now. It's hurting. It's hurting bad in every way. And that's what they need to realize. Hey, this is not it. We need to do something about it. Yeah, you really do have to do something about it. You need to sell. And then the next company that comes in, whoever it is that's going to buy, they need to move forward and go back to what was working. Even if you want to start something new, you could start something new. You can still have Zack Snyder and be like, yo, we want to do this and include it on what's already built, what you set up. What Zack Snyder built at the end of the Snyder Cut, that's something new. You're going to come at me and tell me, oh, that the epilogue scene was already in the original plans? No, the fuck it wasn't. That's new. So, as a Snyder fan, when I hear other Snyder fans saying, oh, but he set this up and it didn't have nothing to do, is Zack Snyder's vision. That's what I want to see. How much more badass can it get? Apparently, it gets even more badass because you have Darkseid that's in control of the whole world. Thanos couldn't do that. In Avengers, Thanos couldn't do that. He took over the world, but it didn't show you how Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League is has taken over the world. You have this motherfucker literally taking over the world. The bad guy for once wins. You have him having Superman under his control. I want to see what's going to happen with that. And to all you cowards that are out there saying, oh, well, Henry Cavill's Superman was too dark. It was too brute. That's not who Superman is. That's not what Superman is about. Shut the fuck up. Straight up. Shut the fuck up. You know why? Because I want to see that. I want to see that badass Superman. I want to see that evil Superman. This motherfucker is under the control of Darkseid. What do you want him to do? A fucking dance? Like in Guardians of the Galaxy? Get out of here with that nonsense. That's the type of shit I'm tired of hearing. I want to see these characters how Zack envisioned them. If Batman's supposed to kill, let Batman do what he has to do. These are fucking criminals. These are thugs. These are delinquents. Batman needs to stop them the same way like how our police stops all these criminals. You have to do what you have to do. No more excuses, period. If this Batman's too strong for you, turn away. Don't look at it, period. If you want a Batman with a bow tie on the ear and a piercing, right out of here. That's not for you. That's not what Zack was giving us. Zack was giving us quality. You have Jared Leto's Joker redeeming himself because there were so many people talking online. Oh, I didn't like Jared Leto as Joker. But then when they saw him on Zack Snyder's Justice League, oh, everybody overnight became a fucking fan, right? Everybody became a fan. Oh, why? Because Zack Snyder gave us a different version of the same Joker from the same timeline, but it was more darker. It was more deep. There's a reason why he's telling these things to Batman and telling him, yo, you sent Robin to do a man's job. You sent this kid, this boy, and I took him out. That's what he did. That's what he's telling him. Because remember, Joker takes him out. I, as a fan, as the audience, I want to see how Jared Leto's Joker takes out Robin from Ben Affleck. That's what I want to see from that version. of Ben Affleck's Batman. How does Joker take out Robin? Which Robin? How did it go down? When did it go down? That's what I want to see. That's all new what Zack Snyder created for the epilogue scene. So you're gonna tell me, oh, I don't want to see nothing new? Bullshit. I want to see what he's gonna do with that. So now you have Mera that's replacing Aquaman. Aquaman's dead in that universe. Darkseid killed him. That's it. Period. Accept it. We don't need Jason Momoa back. That's it. He's done. I want to see Amber Heard back to reprise her role as Mera. I want to see what's gonna happen with that. Where's that gonna go? I want to see Ezra Miller again as the Flash. Say what you want about him. He is to me Barry from the DCEU as the Flash. That's what I want to see. I don't care about his personal problems and shit like that. I want to see him back, and I say him because fuck it, it's a him. I don't give a shit no more. I want to see Ezra back as the Flash because of the continuity. I'm sick and tired of people always like, oh, but because of this and because of that. I don't give a shit. Everybody has problems. Put that to the side. Stop focusing on that and focus on what the movie is about, what these characters are about, and what this universe is trying to tell you. I want to see Joe, how and why he ends up teaming with Ben Affleck's Batman. How did that happen? When did it happen? It should have taken place in Batman's, Ben Affleck's Batman versus Deathstroke. That's what I want to see. I want to see that shit. How and why are they now working together? Where's Lex Luthor in all of this? Is he alive? Is he gone? What's going on? I want to see that. Where's the rest of the villains that we were supposed to get from Zack Snyder and this universe? There's so much in here. There's so much, and it opens the doors to too much of the future. See what I'm saying? It doesn't have to stay where they are right now. This is expanding the universe, and that's what I want to see. That's why, to me, WB, they're hiding. They're hiding greatness. They're hiding something that they're just like, you know what? Yeah, the fans don't need to know that. They don't need to know what's really out there. I think that what they were doing was building up something so massive that even WB couldn't handle it. They were going to be like, whoa, this is too much greatness for us. It was going to be much bigger than the MCU. It was going to be bigger than Secret Wars. And now, with the stupidity of WB, with James Gunn, David Zaslav, and Peter Safran, all of that has been wiped away. You know why? Because once again, Marvel is beating them to it. DC had all this time to redeem themselves. They had all this time to put out good content. And what did they do? The opposite. They did the opposite. And here we are again, the same, like when the beginning of the DCEU, still trying to get off phase one. Zach wasn't trying to do what the MCU was trying to do. Zach was just doing what Zach had to do with the vision that he wanted. But then the WB executives, here they come. Oh, we got to change this and we want to change it. We want to make it more like the MCU. No, it's not going to work. And now it's proven it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's already proven with James Gunn, it's not working and it will never work. No matter how hard you try to force it, it's not going to work. That's the thing. The studio needs to understand, yo, you guys are literally sitting on good content. And I know for sure, I haven't seen it, but just looking at the images and putting, my two senses together, this is me speculating. I have a feeling that there was something good in Batgirl, that it wasn't going to be convenient for James Gunn to allow to be seen because then people were going to be talking about it. People were going to be like, hey, I want to see what else happens with that. We're still talking about it now. You can't stop the Snyder Cut. It's already out. It's released. It's already been seen. How are you going to go back and explain those things? And all of a sudden now you want to like jump around loopholes and, this dimension and a portal, a door opens and it might be this universe. It might be that universe. It's not. It's just not, honestly, And in the end, all I think it is just they're hiding stuff from us in the sense of they have good movies, but they refuse for us to see it because they know if we see it, they're gonna be like, damn, fans want more of that. How do we do it? And we already know that WB at the time, after all the fallout and everything that happened, that they couldn't afford Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal. They couldn't. They just couldn't. But this is where they are because they've brought this upon themselves. They could have avoided all of this. Literally, they could have avoided all of this. But they felt that they couldn't. And because of that, They didn't, and it's completely, it's sad, you know. Yeah, I see. It could have been the Bat family. Yeah, for sure. It could have been a lot of things in it, you know. It could have been a lot of good stuff in it, honestly. But unfortunately, you know, it is what it is at this point, I think, you know. But I think in due time, we just have to keep on fighting, you know. Once this buyout does happen, things are going to change big time. And if the buyout doesn't happen, I'm telling you right now, this industry is in trouble big time. And not in a good way, like in a terrible way, in the sense of, well, if you don't want to give the fans what they want, then you literally have to reap what you sow, you know, and it's going to come down to the point where, well, you should have given us what we wanted, you know, you should have just given us what we wanted. But instead, you know, they didn't, and it's sad. You know, it completely is sad to see that nothing came from it and stuff like that. Let's see. Let me take a moment to look at the comments real quick. I'm just gonna go to the last most recent ones and stuff like that. Um, all right, let's see right here. Lex, the anger when they killed him. I bet Batgirl film was gonna introduce the Bat family first, and Gunn didn't want that to happen. Yeah, I bet Nightwing was gonna cameo at the end. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. I really think that that's what's gonna happen. Honestly, Samantha, what's going on? Appreciate you for watching. Also, I think James Gunn was scared of Batgirl movie because he was afraid that Batgirl was gonna be better than his movie. It would have made more money than his super crap. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I agree with you, Gary. For sure, for sure, for sure. Let's see. The DCU could have been competitive. Yeah, yeah, and it didn't even have to be competitive. It was already its own thing, you know, compared to what Marvel was doing with the MCU and stuff like that. Like we could have both universes, the MCU and the DCEU. I like both of them. I enjoyed both of them, you know. But apparently the studio wanted to be greedy, and they were like, "No, we have to be like the MCU." Why? Just stick to what you're already doing. It's working, you know. But it is what it is, you know. And in time, things will happen, I guess. James Gunn is a hack, yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's see. Anything is better than Gunn's verse. Yeah, at this point, big time. I agree with you, honestly. I really, really agree with you. You know, and that's what I'm saying. You know, like after three strikes, you're out. You know, at this point, James Gunn, he's not fitted for the job. If they want to give him movies to film and stuff that are other projects, go for it. But he shouldn't be running DC Studios, and most of all, he shouldn't be doing. You know, like he shouldn't be in charge of a whole cinematic, universe and the leader of it. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He has no clue what he's doing. You know, and it's sad to see how this company is going down literally every time more and more. You know, but in due time, things are going to change, and you know it's just a matter of time that they have to sell. They have to sell. Jeremy, what's up? First things they need to do is kick out James Gunn and bring Zack Snyder back. Yeah, yeah, they really do. They really do. Honestly, um, yeah, I agree with you. WB needs to sell, give us what we want. That's simple. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what they need to do. Honestly, you know, it's nonsense. You know, let's see. James Gunn is all about C-list characters. That's it. Can't handle a list. Yeah, yeah, true. You know, like that's what he's good at. Those weird characters. But even like that, nobody's paying attention. You know, it tells you everything. I don't mind keeping Zack and Guns universe as well. Just go with my idea and turn Guns universe into Earth 3, turn Corn Sweat Superman to Ultraman, so we can have that epic Cavill versus Corn Sweat. I could see that happen. That would be, you know, yes, it would be a new route, but I guess if you want to unite everything, yeah, in a way, because yeah, the whole fandom is just so divided right now. James Gunn stole Zack idea from Man of Steel too. Yeah, yeah, that's what he's doing right now for that whatever Superman that he's trying to do. One more thing, I'm gonna stream your stream on next. Okay, cool, cool. Let's see, Cavill, looks pissed. Diana, Kal-El, no. Of course, it screams into heavy hip surgery. There's going to be change the Batman comics to fit the changes for James Gunn's DCU. Yeah, I heard about that they're trying to do that. Again, you know, while James Gunn's there, a lot of things are gonna be they're just gonna get more and more sloppy, you know. Um I I don't even know what to think of it anymore. It's pretty bad. It really is. What do you think will happen if James Gunn's contract gets renewed before WB gets sold? That would be bad. Honestly, that would be bad. If they renew it before it gets sold, they're probably gonna try to extend it and try to do that to delay it so he can have his job security. But then again, even if it does sell and he signed to WB to get renewed, new ownership could come into play and rip that contract and be like, look, we're a new company. We don't have to acknowledge and accept what was in the old contract. See what I'm saying? So it's like it's always a another move that they can do. So there's always ways. There's always ways. I believe he has one more year of his contract. Yeah, November 2026 is when his contract comes to an end. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's gonna happen with that. Flashpoint with Joseph directing whoever they want to do and stuff like that. All right, cool. Peace out. Peace out. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Star Lord used to be serious character that took nothing from nobody. Yeah, and exactly. And look at what they turned him into. You know, a complete joke, which is nuts. It's like again, that's what James Gunn does. James Gunn does what James Gunn does. They thought DCU was a mess post Snyder. Gunn is like, hold my beer. Y'all ain't seen what I could do. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's come down to. James Gunn has proven that he has no sense of leadership and he just doesn't know what he's doing. Some people might defend him, but in reality, they're not making money. They're losing money. You're pretty sure the buying company will have to abide with all the current contracts unless they pay to break them. Who knows? Maybe they have money to pay like that. So, if they got money to buy them, I mean, they could probably have money to break the contract. So, what's an extra couple of million gonna cost them? you know, you're sick of James Gunn. Yeah, we all are. We really are. it, I'm not excited for anything that DC's putting out. It's just not exciting anymore. DC is a joke and Marvel is great again. Yeah, Marvel's starting to make a comeback. Honestly, Marvel's cleaning house. They are not playing. They're actually starting to clean house and things like that. But with that being said, my friends, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'm about to get going. I appreciate y'all for watching, for all that good stuff. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Till then, peace out.